What if the comfortable life you're living is the very thing holding you back from becoming extraordinary? Imagine waking up one day, feeling as if the color has drained from life, trapped in a routine that feels safe but stifling. Friedrich Nietzsche, one of history's most misunderstood philosophers, uncovered a profound truth about human potential that many overlook. His radical ideas about the will to power and becoming the 𝐬𝐮𝐵𝐻 weren't abstract theories. They were a guide to escaping the invisible prison of conformity. Nietzsche's philosophy provides practical tools to escape comfort and achieve deeper meaning. Think of the unspoken rules that shape your choices without you even realizing it. The comfort trap. Think about the last time you chose the easy option over the difficult one. Maybe you ordered takeout instead of cooking, or spent an hour scrolling through your phone instead of tackling that book on your shelf. These small, seemingly harmless decisions accumulate over time, quietly shaping who you are. Modern life is designed to remove friction at every turn. Groceries arrive at your door, entertainment streams endlessly, and work can be done without leaving your bed. While convenience feels like progress, it comes with hidden costs. Studies from the University of Pennsylvania reveal that avoiding discomfort weakens problem-solving skills. Over time, your brain becomes less adept at handling challenges. Nietzsche warned of this over a century ago. He believed that comfort creates passive individuals who never test their limits. In his words, the secret of realizing the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment of existence is to live dangerously. He wasn't advocating recklessness, but rather the pursuit of growth over ease. Comfort, however, is deceptive. It feels safe, but it's more like quicksand, subtly pulling you in and trapping you. Every time you avoid effort, you weaken your will to power, that fundamental drive to grow and overcome. Social media algorithms are a perfect example. They feed you content that aligns with your preferences, creating intellectual comfort zones where you rarely encounter challenging ideas. A study from MIT found that people who consume only familiar content show less cognitive flexibility over time. The research paints a clear picture. People who embrace discomfort experience greater growth. A 2021 study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology tracked two groups, one that regularly took on small challenges and another that avoided them. After 6 months, the challenge group demonstrated 23% higher creativity scores and greater stress resilience. Comfort doesn't just make you complacent, it narrows your sense of what's possible. This dynamic plays out in daily life. You might tell yourself you're too tired to exercise after work, or that you'll start that project when you have more time. These are comfort traps, seemingly reasonable excuses that mask an avoidance of growth. Nietzsche called this the spirit of heaviness, an invisible weight that keeps you from taking action. The modern world amplifies this effect. Notifications, endless content, and instant gratification train your brain to seek quick rewards over long-term satisfaction. A Stanford study found that frequent multitaskers across digital platforms have poorer attention spans and impulse control. But here's the truth. Discomfort isn't your enemy. It's your guide. Like a compass, it points you toward growth. Every time you push through resistance, you strengthen your will to power, becoming more capable not just in that moment, but in every area of life. Slave morality in your daily life. What if the values you consider good are actually limiting you? Nietzsche called this slave morality, a system where the weak inverted traditional values to control the strong. It praises humility over excellence and equality of outcome over ambition. Once you recognize it, you'll see it everywhere. Slave morality originated with oppressed groups who couldn't compete physically, so they redefined strength as arrogance and ambition as selfishness. Over time, These inverted values became society's default. Today, they shape your thinking in subtle ways. For example, hesitating to ask for a raise because you fear seeming greedy, or downplaying your achievements to avoid standing out. These are echoes of slave morality. Modern self-help often reinforces these patterns. Advice like, "Be happy with what you have," or "Practice gratitude," isn't inherently wrong, but it can discourage growth when taken too far. A 2019 study in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that excessive focus on contentment predicted lower career advancement. Participants who strongly agreed with statements like, "I shouldn't want more than I have," earned 17% less over 5 years than those with balanced ambition. The takeaway: gratitude is valuable, but not at the expense of striving for more. Society often rewards conformity, which further entrenches slave morality. Think about workplaces that promote agreeable employees while sidelining assertive ones, or schools that prioritize compliance over creativity. Research from the University of California shows that nonconformists may face initial rejection, but ultimately achieve higher levels of innovation and life satisfaction. The system discourages the very traits that lead to exceptional outcomes. Nietzsche proposed an alternative: master morality. This framework values strength, creativity, and the courage to defy societal expectations. It's not about dominating others, but about refusing to be dominated by external pressures. You see this in the entrepreneur who ignores naysayers, the artist who rejects trends, or the thinker who questions dogma. The contrast is clear in daily choices. Slave morality says, "Don't make waves." Master morality asks, "What waves are worth making?" Slave morality worries, "What will people think?" Master morality considers, "What do I think is right?" These mindsets lead to vastly different lives. One keeps you small, the other drives growth. Psychological research supports Nietzsche's view. Studies on achievement motivation show that people thrive when they balance contentment with healthy dissatisfaction. The most successful individuals appreciate what they have while striving for more, aligning with Nietzsche's idea of self-overcoming, the constant push to grow without relying on external validation. To spot slave morality in your own life, notice when you apologize unnecessarily, avoid conflict at all costs, feel guilty for wanting more, downplay your abilities, seek constant approval. These patterns don't make you virtuous, they make you manageable. True virtue, Nietzsche argued, comes from creating your own values, not inheriting society's. This doesn't mean rejecting all traditional morality, but examining which values help you grow and which hold you back. Learned helplessness versus will to power. Why do some people collapse under pressure while others push forward? Nietzsche's concept of the will to power explains this fundamental difference in human behavior. It's about that inner drive to overcome obstacles rather than submit to them. Learned helplessness is the psychological opposite of Nietzsche's ideal. Psychologist Martin Seligman discovered this phenomenon through experiments where dogs received electric shocks they couldn't escape. Eventually, they stopped trying, even when escape became possible. Humans do the same. When people face repeated failures without control, they learn to stop attempting change. Research shows that this mindset can persist even when opportunities for success are present, creating a cycle of passivity. Modern psychology confirms Nietzsche's insights about overcoming adversity. Studies show that people who regularly face and conquer challenges develop higher resilience. Their brains rewire to handle stress better, with stronger problem-solving and emotional control. Nietzsche called this process self-overcoming, where each challenge makes you stronger for the next. The tension lies in how society often rewards passive behavior. Social media algorithms amplify outrage, and helplessness, encouraging people to see themselves as victims rather than agents of change. A Stanford study found that content portraying powerlessness received significantly more engagement than posts showing agency. This cultural reinforcement of passivity makes it harder to embrace the will to power. Nietzsche's solution is radical responsibility. Instead of blaming circumstances, you focus on your power to respond differently. This doesn't mean denying real obstacles. It means refusing to let them define you. For example, instead of saying, "My job is stressful," you could say, "I need to improve how I handle stress." The first statement traps you. The second empowers change. Psychologists call this an internal locus of control, and research consistently links it to higher achievement. People who believe they can influence outcomes tend to create better outcomes. The will to power manifests in small daily choices. When you hit snooze instead of waking up to work on your goals, that's learned helplessness winning. When you push through discomfort to exercise, that's the will to power in action. Life is a constant tension between the pull toward comfort and the drive to grow. Research shows that those who embrace challenges tend to achieve more over time. Cultural narratives often confuse the will to power with aggression. Nietzsche didn't advocate dominating others. He meant mastering yourself. The true test comes when facing failure. Most people interpret setbacks as reasons to quit. Those with strong will to power see them as opportunities to improve. You can strengthen this mindset by focusing on small, deliberate actions. Each time you choose action over passivity, you reinforce your ability to overcome challenges. The illusion of free will. What if you've made a choice you didn't consciously decide on? Think about a time when your actions felt automatic, like reaching for your phone or choosing what to eat. Nietzsche challenged the idea that these decisions are truly yours. He argued that free will is just the surface of deeper psychological drives we don't control. Modern neuroscience backs this up. Brain scans reveal decisions occur in the subconscious up to 7 seconds before we're aware of them. That feeling of choice, it's your brain rationalizing actions already in motion. Nietzsche believed human behavior is shaped by competing internal forces, what he called drives. These include the will to power, but also biological and psychological impulses. Contemporary research supports this. A 2019 study in Nature Human Behavior found 85% of daily choices follow unconscious patterns. Your morning routine, food preferences, even how you argue, most of it runs on autopilot, guided by habits and past experiences. This raises a tough question. If we're not fully in control, how can we change? Nietzsche's answer was to stop fighting your nature and start working with it. Instead of battling impulses with willpower, understand and redirect them. Take a habitual morning routine. If you always check your phone first thing, you could attach a new behavior, like drinking water or stretching, to that existing habit. Psychologists call this habit stacking, and research from University College London shows it's 3 times more effective than relying on willpower alone. The key is understanding motivation. Most people wait to feel motivated before acting, but Nietzsche saw it the other way around. Motivation follows action. A 2020 Stanford study confirmed this. Participants who exercised regardless of motivation worked out 40% more than those waiting to feel like it. Your conscious mind rationalizes, but your drives respond to consistent action. This also applies to breaking bad habits. Traditional advice says to resist temptation with willpower, but research shows willpower fails 70% of the time when used alone. Nietzsche would argue it's better to identify what need the habit fulfills, like stress relief or social connection, and find healthier ways to meet it. A smoker, for example, might replace smoking with deep breathing or connecting with friends. Think of it like riding the current of your subconscious. When behaviors become automatic through repetition, they stop draining willpower. Studies show 45% of daily actions are habitual, not consciously decided. Real change doesn't come from fighting your drives. It comes from steering them with small, repeatable actions that align with your values. Becoming who you are. Nietzsche's phrase, "become who you are," sounds simple, but it's often misunderstood. It's not about discovering a fixed inner self, it's about actively shaping who you become through effort and change. Most people spend their lives trying to fit into predefined roles: good employee, loyal friend, responsible parent. Nietzsche challenges this, urging us to invent our own way of being. Modern psychology echoes this idea. A 2020 study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology followed 5,000 adults over 10 years and found that those who viewed identity as flexible were 32% more adaptable during life transitions. They navigated job changes, relationship shifts, and personal crises more effectively than those clinging to rigid self-concepts. Identity isn't something you uncover, it's something you build through action. This tension between imposed and self-made identity is everywhere. Society often pushes fixed labels, from career tests claiming to reveal your true calling to personality quizzes boxing you into types. Nietzsche rejected this. He believed you don't have one true self waiting to be found. Instead, your potential selves emerge through choices. A Harvard study found that people who experimented with different roles in their 20s reported higher life satisfaction in their 40s than those who settled early on one identity. Take the story of a teacher who lost her job during a school closure. Initially devastated, she began volunteering at a local community center where she discovered a passion for counseling. Over time, she retrained as a therapist, finding a new sense of purpose. Her reinvention highlights Nietzsche's point. When you see yourself as evolving, no single loss can define you. Research from Stanford supports this. People with fluid self-concepts recover from setbacks 40% faster than those with rigid identities. This plays out in daily life too. When someone asks, "What do you do?" they're often asking you to define yourself by your job. Nietzsche would challenge this. Why let any label capture your entire identity? A 2021 study in Psychological Science found that people who described themselves using diverse roles and traits showed greater creativity and problem-solving ability. The more identities you embrace, the more resources you have to face challenges. Self-creation isn't passive, it requires deliberate experimentation. Nietzsche called this self-overcoming, while modern psychologists refer to it as identity play. Even small changes like trying a new hobby or taking a different route to work can expand your self-concept. A longitudinal study at the University of Michigan found that passion develops through effort, not discovery. Reinvention starts with action. The 𝐬𝐵𝐻 in modern life. Nietzsche's 𝐬𝐵𝐻 concept is often misunderstood as some kind of superhuman. Think of it more like an entrepreneur carving out a unique path in a world full of preset templates. It's about creating your own values in a world that doesn't come with built-in meaning. Today, this means resisting the pressure to follow pre-packaged life scripts. The college degree, the corporate job, the 2.5 kids. These aren't bad choices, but they become problems when they're not truly yours. Modern society makes conformity easy. Social media algorithms show you what's popular. Schools teach standardized tests. Employers reward team players. A 2021 study in the Journal of Personality found that 78% of people make career choices based on social approval rather than personal passion. The system is designed to produce reliable workers, not independent thinkers. Nietzsche called this the herd mentality, the tendency to follow the crowd without questioning why. Society rewards those who fit in, promotions go to team players, and popularity favors those who echo mainstream views. Yet research from the University of Essex reveals a paradox. While conformists often achieve short-term success, nonconformists report higher life satisfaction in the long run. Imagine feeling unfulfilled by a job not chosen for passion, a sentiment echoed by a Columbia University study, which found that 61% of law students pursued their path due to family pressure or job security. Years later, these same students reported higher rates of burnout, having surrendered their ability to shape their own lives. The modern world makes independent thinking harder than ever. Algorithms feed you content that reinforces your existing views. HR departments prioritize cultural fit over originality. A 2022 MIT study found that workplace evaluations mentioned team player 5 times more often than innovative thinker in positive reviews. These systems train you to conform. Nietzsche's Übermensch resists this by asking, is this truly my path, or am I following someone else's map? Research supports the idea that nonconformity drives innovation. A Harvard Business School study found that 89% of successful entrepreneurs pursued ideas initially dismissed by their peers. These weren't reckless individuals, they trusted their own judgment over group consensus. Moderate nonconformists, who balanced independence with social awareness, achieved the most success. This reflects Nietzsche's ideal, not rejecting all norms, but consciously creating your own. The key is recognizing where you've internalized others' values. Do you choose hobbies because they're popular? A University of Toronto study found people underestimate social influence on their choices by 40%. Regular self-questioning, why do I want this, can uncover borrowed desires and lead to greater autonomy. Eternal recurrence as a decision tool. What if you had to relive a pivotal moment in your life, over and over, exactly as it happened? The joy, the regret, the choices you made. Nietzsche's concept of eternal recurrence challenges you to imagine living your entire life on repeat. It's not about reincarnation. It's a mental test for how you're living today. The question isn't whether it's real, but whether your choices are ones you could bear to live with forever. Most people find this thought experiment unsettling. A 2022 study in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that 68% of participants said they would significantly change their lives if faced with eternal recurrence. The reasons? Wasted time, unfulfilled potential, and living for others' expectations. This highlights a painful gap between how people live and how they wish they lived. The power of this idea lies in its simplicity. When making a decision, ask yourself, could I repeat this choice forever? Not, is this easy? Or, what will others think? But is this aligned with who I want to be? Research from Stanford University shows that people who use value-based decision-making report 23% higher life satisfaction than those who prioritize convenience or social approval. Think about how this applies to your daily life. Before accepting that job, ask, would I be comfortable with this as my forever career? In a relationship, consider, could I choose this dynamic again and again? A University of Michigan study tracked graduates for 10 years and found that those who chose careers based on external validation experienced 40% higher burnout rates than those who followed intrinsic values. Eternal recurrence forces you to confront these trade-offs. Modern psychology supports Nietzsche's insight. Studies on cognitive dissonance show that people experience stress when their actions conflict with their true beliefs. A 2021 Harvard study found that participants who aligned daily behaviors with personal values had lower cortisol levels and better sleep quality. Your body literally functions better when your life matches your values. This perspective also reshapes how you view time. Instead of seeing time as something to fill, Eternal recurrence makes each moment feel infinite. A UCLA study found that people who adopted this mindset became 33% more intentional with their time, investing in meaningful activities instead of distractions. Eternal recurrence works because it demands honesty. You can rationalize staying in an unfulfilling job, but could you face doing it forever? By imagining your choices on repeat, you cut through excuses and confront what truly matters. Practical steps to Nietzschean growth. Here's your section on practical steps to Nietzschean growth. Philosophy only matters if you use it. Nietzsche's ideas are tools for changing how you live. Start by picking one area where you've been passive. Maybe it's your career, where you've settled for stability over growth. Or your relationships, where you avoid difficult conversations. It could even be your health, where you keep postponing changes. The key is to identify where you've been avoiding discomfort and commit to addressing it. Research shows that focusing on one specific area for improvement leads to better results than trying to change everything at once. For example, participants in a University of Pennsylvania study who worked on a single habit for 30 days had a 76% success rate, compared to just 23% for those juggling multiple changes. Nietzsche's concept of self-overcoming aligns with this. It's about consistent, deliberate effort in areas that matter most. Next, break your target area into small, actionable steps. If you've been passive in your career, start by having one uncomfortable conversation per week. This could mean asking for feedback, proposing an idea, or setting a boundary. Imagine telling your boss, "I'd like to take on more responsibility in this project," or asking a colleague for honest input on your performance. A 2021 study in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that employees who initiated these kinds of discussions once a week reported 32% higher job satisfaction within 3 months. The discomfort won't vanish, but your ability to handle it will grow. Think of Nietzsche's will to power like strength training. You don't start by lifting the heaviest weight. You begin with what challenges you slightly, then increase the load. A Harvard study found that people focusing on incremental progress were 5 times more likely to stick with new habits over 6 months than those attempting dramatic changes. Small, consistent challenges build confidence and capability over time. Then, apply the eternal recurrence test to your daily choices. Before deciding how to spend your evening, ask, would I want to relive this? When choosing between scrolling social media or working on a personal project, which one aligns with who you want to become? Research from Stanford shows that value-based decision-making reduces regret and increases satisfaction. Finally, surround yourself with people who challenge you. Nietzsche wrote, "You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star." Seek out those who inspire productive chaos, friends who ask hard questions and push you to grow. A 2022 study found that having just one growth-oriented friend makes you 40% more likely to pursue your goals. The dark side of Nietzsche's philosophy. Nietzsche's philosophy contains dangerous edges if misunderstood. His rejection of traditional morality wasn't an invitation to chaos, though some have taken it that way. A common misinterpretation is that Nietzsche advocated selfishness or cruelty, missing his central point about self-overcoming. He valued power over oneself, not domination over others. History shows how easily these ideas can be distorted. The Nazis infamously misused Nietzsche's work, cherry-picking phrases about strength while ignoring his contempt for nationalism and anti-Semitism. His sister Elizabeth, who edited his works after his mental breakdown, deliberately altered over 30 key passages to align with her nationalist agenda, as confirmed by a 2015 analysis by the Nietzsche Archive. These distortions turned Nietzsche's philosophy into a tool for oppression, a misuse he would have abhorred. The phrase, beyond good and evil is another source of confusion. Without context, it can sound like a rejection of all morality. But Nietzsche wasn't promoting amorality. He challenged people to create their own values through rigorous self-examination. Research from the University of Chicago shows that individuals who engage in this kind of value creation demonstrate higher moral reasoning than those who blindly follow social norms. The difference lies between thoughtless rebellion and conscious self-direction. The will to power is similarly misunderstood. Some interpret it as justifying domination, but Nietzsche applied it primarily to self-mastery. A study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people who focus on self-control and personal growth, key aspects of Nietzsche's ideal, show more empathy and cooperation than those fixated on controlling others. The will to power becomes toxic only when directed outward rather than inward. Nietzsche also warned against nihilism, the belief that nothing matters. He saw it as a disease to overcome through action and self-development. A 2020 study in psychological science found that people who set and pursue personal goals report higher life meaning, even without believing in absolute truths. Nietzsche's philosophy thrives when it drives growth, not when it excuses apathy. The tension lies in how easily his ideas are oversimplified. When people hear God is dead, they often miss Nietzsche's deeper point about taking responsibility for creating meaning. Misinterpretations persist because the human brain simplifies complex ideas. A Yale study found people remember only 20% of a philosopher's arguments after one exposure, often retaining provocative phrases like, "What doesn't kill me makes me stronger," over nuanced discussions of suffering and growth. The most damaging misreading is using Nietzsche to justify inequality or oppression. His praise for excellence was about overcoming adversity, not inherited privilege. Societies embracing self-overcoming, like post-war Japan, achieve greater social mobility than those clinging to rigid hierarchies. Misapplying Nietzsche's ideas risks turning a philosophy of growth into one of harm. His vision of strength, tempered by wisdom, demands careful interpretation to avoid dangerous consequences. Nietzsche challenged us to become active creators of our lives rather than passive spectators. His philosophy isn't meant to comfort, it's meant to awaken. Every choice you make is either a step towards becoming who you're meant to be, or a step back into the safety of what you've always known. Now I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment right now to reflect on your own comfort traps, those subtle areas where you've settled into safety instead of pushing for growth. Nietzsche believed that our greatest opportunities lie just beyond the boundaries of comfort, in the places we're often reluctant to explore. So ask yourself, what's one comfort trap in your life, and how will you challenge yourself to overcome it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your reflection could spark someone else's breakthrough. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Join our growing community of bold thinkers committed to living deliberately and courageously, just as Nietzsche envisioned. As Nietzsche famously said, "He who has a why can bear almost any how." Your journey toward discovering your why starts right now. Thanks for watching,